Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really big one for any senior multi-cloud architect. How in the world do you share your data with the public securely? This is a huge deal, and getting it right can totally change your data strategy.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. This is the core dilemma, isn't it? You absolutely have to share data to grow your business. You've got partners, customers, developers, all needing access. But just leaving the front door wide open? That's not just risky, that's a straight-up recipe for a security nightmare and a financial disaster. You know, for way too long, the go-to move was just making a storage bucket public. I mean, it's simple, right? But oh boy, is it risky. We're talking about a surefire way to get data leaks, costs that spiral out of control, and absolutely no clue who's accessing what. The smart way, though? It's a secure framework that gives you precise, granular control, puts a cap on your costs, and, maybe best of all, gives you a full audit trail of everything. So how do we build this thing? Well, we're going to walk through it in 5 clear steps. We'll start by really understanding the problem, what I call the paradox. Then we'll look at the tools for the job, assemble the blueprint, see how it works in a real case study, and finally, talk about how to really lock it all down. All right, first up, let's unpack this fundamental problem. It's this constant push and pull, this tug of war between the absolute need to share your data and the critical need to keep it secure. And here's the bottom line. All the value, all the magic, it happens when you share data. But all the danger, all the risk, it comes from that exposure. So the goal here is to provide access without just losing all control. It's about building a smart, controlled exchange, not just flinging open the doors. Okay, so let's open up the toolkit. What are we going to build this with? It really comes down to 3 core technologies. These are the pillars that will form the foundation of our secure sharing solution. First up is object storage. This is your vault, your fortress. Think of it as this incredibly secure, massively scalable, and surprisingly affordable place to keep all your raw data, your datasets, images, logs, the whole shebang. It's where everything lives, but super important, it is not the front door. Next up, signed URLs. Now, these are brilliant. The best way to think of a signed URL is like a one-time use VIP pass. It grants temporary, super specific access to one single file for a very limited time. This is the secret sauce that lets you give out access without ever handing over the keys to the entire vault. And the third tool in our kit, access points. So if object storage is the vault, think of these as dedicated, secure doorways into that vault. Each door can have its very own set of rules, its own policies. This means you can create tailored access for different apps or different groups of users, all without ever messing with the security of the main vault itself. So we've got our components, the vault, the VIP passes, and the custom doorways. Now for the fun part. Let's see how these pieces fit together perfectly to create this really elegant and secure architecture that just completely solves our data sharing paradox. Here's how the flow works, and it's so clean. First, a user asks your application for a piece of data. Notice they never talk to your storage directly. Second, your app acts as the bouncer. It checks who they are and what they're allowed to see. If everything checks out, 3, the app generates one of those temporary signed URLs, that VIP pass, for that one specific file. And finally, the user takes that pass and downloads the data. Your app is the gatekeeper, and your storage bucket stays completely locked down. Beautiful. Okay, I know this can all feel a little bit theoretical, so let's make it real. Let's ground this whole blueprint in a real-world example to see just how powerful this setup can be. So picture this. It's a classic scenario, right? You've got this massive, super valuable analytics data set that updates every single day. And you need to share it with your external partners so they can do their BI magic. But just making that whole thing public? No way. That would be a complete security and cost nightmare. So, what do you get with our framework? Well, check out these benefits. First, your partners get exactly the data they're authorized for and nothing more. Second, those time-limited URLs mean you don't have bots or scripts just downloading things over and over, running up your bill. Third, and this is huge, no secret keys or credentials are ever exposed to the user. And my favorite part, every single time a URL is generated, you can log it. You get a perfect, crystal clear audit trail. All right, for our final section, let's put on our security hats. Let's talk about how this architecture actively defends you against the most common and dangerous threats out there. Just look at this. It's like a shield for every attack. You're worried about credential abuse or a leaked key? Doesn't matter. The signed URLs expire in minutes anyway. What about bots scraping all your data? Well, your application can just rate limit how many URLs get generated. Terrified of a massive surprise cloud bill? Your access points can enforce network controls and trigger alerts. And data leakage? Nope. Each URL is good for one and only one object. It's got an answer for everything.
So what's the end result of all this? You are looking at a dramatic, massive reduction in your public data exposure risk. Seriously, moving from an open bucket to this framework isn't just a small improvement. It's a total game changer for your security posture.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? The whole mindset is shifting. We're moving away from just open access and moving towards creating smart, controlled, and totally accountable data exchanges. That right there is what being a modern architect is all about.
So, I'll leave you with this question. This isn't just some theory on a slide, it's a practical, actionable strategy you can go and implement right now. So think about it. What's that one public data set you're sharing today that you could go and secure first using this blueprint? Thanks for tuning in.